Today's video is about a topic that I know all too well, the act of complaining. And boy, do I do this one well. I should get a medal for how much I am great at this one. So, if you are new here, my name is Raylynn, and welcome to the Relatable Faith Diary series. This is episode 3, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you leave feeling encouraged, inspired, and motivated to be content and to stop complaining. So let's dive right in. Have you mastered the art of complaining? Complaining to others, to yourself, to the Lord, about your husband, your boss, things that don't work, the weather. Ingratitude and discontentment is the source of many complaints. Before you complain about the long line, remember you've got legs to stand on. Before you complain about the hot car, remember you've got transport while others don't. Swap your complaints for gratitude. Do everything without complaining and arguing so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Philippians 2:14-15. Those who are wayward in spirit will gain understanding. Those who complain will accept instruction. Isaiah 29:24. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as good for building up as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Ephesians 4:29. That was a devotional from the Pocket Bible Devotional. This is also from the same devotional. Are you satisfied with your spouse, yourself, your kids, your finances, your home, your work, and what you have achieved? Your own discontentment and dissatisfaction is often the reason for your unhappiness. Today, count your blessings and not your shortcomings. Jesus taught us to pray for our daily bread, and yet we are not satisfied with today's bread. We want insurance for the week's bread. Maybe your dissatisfaction is caused by living for the day after tomorrow and not for today. True godliness with contentment is itself great wealth. 1 Timothy 6:6. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out, and having food and clothing, with these we shall be content. Those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness. Ecclesiastes 5:10. This one is from God's Words of Life for Mothers. All of these will be linked in the description below. I don't want this couch. I want a leather one. I don't like this house. I want a bigger one. I'm not satisfied with my husband. I want hers. While such words rarely escape our lips, the thought behind them are regular enough. So too with the Israelites who grumbled to God during their wanderings in the wilderness. They fussed at God because they didn't think they had enough food. Then they raised their fist at him because all he provided was manna, and they wanted meat. They moaned about not being in the promised land when they were in the desert, and yet it was in the desert that God offered unique and tangible demonstrations of his presence. A pillar of fire, a cloud of presence, manna and quail from the sky. How like the Israelites we are. We say we want certain things from God, and yet when we have them, we look back longingly at the way things were before, never fully satisfied. So what's our beef with God? Do we want the promised land and his presence in our lives? That one hit hard. I can complain so well that I said this in the beginning, I could get a medal for it, an award. I could get the best complainer of the year because I will find something to complain about. It's too hot, or it's too cold, or I don't like the way this looks over here. Let's move it over here. Or this car just is so annoying because of blah, 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 even though it's still getting us from A to B. Or insert problem here that I can complain about. I can complain about anything and everything all the time. And I have struggled with contentment a lot in my life. And it's not until here recently that I have really been trying to find contentment and to learn to trade my complaining for gratitude. And so I wanted to share this today because I know that so many of us can struggle with the same thing. And I know that so many of us can complain about anything and everything. I can complain about my kitchen. You've heard me complain about that all the time. My kitchen is so tiny. My counters are I don't have enough counter space and blah, 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 blah. Yes, or my kitchen is outdated. I wish that I had a newer kitchen and a newer stove and a newer refrigerator, and I wish I had a dishwasher. Anything and everything that I can complain about, even though my kitchen serves me well. I have hands that can wash dishes. I have legs to stand there to wash the dishes. So I have this book. I've mentioned it in my Bible bag video. It's called Contentment by Lydia Brownback. And this is the introduction. You can have it all, so don't settle for less. That is what we are told. So we spend ourselves on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Realization of the American dream, the Western dream, lies at our fingertips, but that is largely the problem. So much of what we want remains just out of our reach. We can touch it, but we cannot get our hands around it. And sometimes we do get hold of it, but we are not any happier. There is always something we still don't have, so we pour our lives into acquiring the next one thing. Then I'll be happy, we say. But we are always saying that because there is always just one more thing. Our unhappiness does not spring from what we lack. It springs from our desire for what we lack. We crave love, beauty, and comfort. We crave independence and peaceful surroundings. We crave self-esteem. We crave the smooth rhythm of a balanced life. A little of this, a bit of that, but not too much of either. We are unhappy because we come to expect such things, living as we do in a society that advocates personal rights, autonomy, and prosperity above all else. We refuse to accept that our prosperity isn't going to make us happy, and for all our rights, autonomy is just an illusion. Consider how we react when a storm comes and the electricity goes out. We cannot curl our hair, or microwave our lean cuisines, or click through the channels of DirecTV. How happy are we then? But people in underdeveloped countries, those without rights or prosperity, are not unhappy when the power goes out, largely because they have spent most of their lives functioning with no electricity at all. They don't fret about limp hair, they don't sit around bored for lack of Lifetime TV, and they enjoy the little food they have with no hang-ups about high fructose levels and excessive carbohydrates. But just as prosperity does not lock in happiness, awful circumstances don't have to lock it out. Do we believe that? Most of us don't when we are faced with unwanted singleness, an unhappy marriage, infertility, financial hardship, broken relationships, terminal illness, or regret. In such circumstances, we can't imagine anything but unhappiness. What choice do we have? We do have a choice, actually. We can be happy, not necessarily in the American way, but in the biblical way. Happiness or contentment comes from where we look and what we believe, not from what we have. Boy, did that hit close to home. Okay, so I hope that this helped you, give you some inspiration, some motivation to stop complaining, because I know I need that, and I don't know if any of you need that, but hopefully it helped you if you did. And I'm so thankful that you are here. If you haven't already, I would hope you would stick around and subscribe if you are new, and Lord willing, I will see you on the next one.